Operation Starlink, CIA's secret eyes in the sky before satellites in the aftermath of World War II. As the geopolitical landscape shifted into the tense lines of the Cold War, the CIA recognized the urgent need for intelligence that could not be gathered from the ground. Traditional methods of espionage informants intercepted communications, and human agents had limitations that could no longer suffice in a world increasingly defined by technological advantage. The agency understood that the skies themselves could become a theater of observation, a vantage point from which secrets could be glimpsed without ever crossing borders openly. From these realizations emerged the seeds of what would become Operation Starlink, a mission to transform the skies into eyes. Long before satellites could offer a perspective from orbit, analysts and engineers convened in secret, in windowless rooms, thick with the scent of coffee and the tension of innovation. They debated aircraft design, photographic technology, and the limits of human endurance at altitudes that pushed the boundaries of known aviation. Pilots were trained to operate machines that existed on the edge of known performance. Vessels capable of cruising silently at altitudes where oxygen was scarce. And every movement had to be precise to avoid detection. The CIA's investment was not merely financial. It was an investment in imagination, in daring, and in the audacity to see the unseen. Early reconnaissance missions were fraught with uncertainty. The skies were not only a domain for observation, but a territory of risk. Patrolled by anti-aircraft systems and monitored by adversaries equally keen to detect intrusions. Each flight became a meticulous balance of stealth, altitude, and timing. Engineers developed specialized cameras that could capture high-resolution images from miles above the surface, while radio operators worked to ensure that signals could be sent back without interception. Every detail mattered, for a single miscalculation could compromise not only the mission, but the operatives themselves. The pilots, often referred to in internal reports as the Ghost Wings, carried out sorties that tested both machine and human limits. Operating in near silence, they became masters of navigation, relying on calculations that had to account for wind currents, atmospheric pressure, and enemy radar patterns. Each flight was a study in precision, a dance with the invisible forces that govern the air above hostile territories. The images captured would provide intelligence that was previously unattainable, revealing military installations, troop movements, and infrastructure critical to national security. In one of the earliest documented missions, a high-altitude aircraft departed under the cover of night, its cameras loaded with film specially treated for maximum clarity. The operative piloting the craft maneuvered along a predetermined path over enemy territory, maintaining altitude to avoid radar detection while ensuring that every angle of potential intelligence was covered. Below, radar operators tracked possible interceptors, ready to guide the pilot through a complex web of threats. Hours passed in tense silence, every calculation precise, every maneuver deliberate, until the aircraft returned safely. Its film a trove of unseen knowledge that would shape strategic decisions for months to come. The success of these initial operations confirmed what the CIA had long suspected. Control of the skies offered unprecedented advantage. The agency's planners realized that mastery of aerial reconnaissance could tilt the balance of intelligence gathering in ways that no traditional human agent could replicate. The combination of daring pilots, technological ingenuity, and meticulous planning created a new class of operatives and missions, one that blurred the lines between aviation, espionage, and scientific exploration. Yet challenges persisted. Enemy defenses evolved quickly, and every successful mission prompted the development of countermeasures. The agency had to continuously innovate, creating aircraft that could fly higher, cameras that could capture finer detail, and navigational systems that minimized human error. Each mission became a lesson in adaptability, with failures serving as critical knowledge for refining future operations. Pilots and engineers learned that success was measured not only by the intelligence gathered, but by the invisible margin that kept them undetected, safe, and ready for the next flight. By the end of the first year, Operation Starlink had established a template for what would become the CIA's aerial reconnaissance program. Missions were planned with precision, technology advanced at an unprecedented pace, and a cadre of highly trained operatives became specialists in the art of observation from above. These early efforts laid the foundation for what would eventually evolve into satellite reconnaissance, but at this stage, it was men and machines pushing the limits of the atmosphere eyes in the sky, capturing secrets that the world below could not imagine. The dawn of aerial espionage was not just a campaign of flights and photographs. It was a bold assertion that intelligence could transcend borders, that vision could reach beyond the horizon, and that the sky itself could be harnessed as a tool of strategy. The operatives involved carried the weight of secrecy and the thrill of discovery, knowing that every mission flown contributed to a tapestry of knowledge that would shape the trajectory of the Cold War. Every sortie, every photograph, every calculation was a silent declaration. The world was being watched from above, and the CIA was learning to see what others could not. Every innovation in aerial espionage demanded not only courage but also ingenuity. The early reconnaissance aircraft, though revolutionary, required extensive modifications to operate undetected over hostile territory. Ordinary planes were far too visible, too loud, too slow, and too vulnerable. Engineers and CIA operatives collaborated in hidden hangars, working late into the night under the hum of electric lights and the smell of fresh paint to create aircraft that could become invisible eyes in the sky. Each modification was painstaking, balancing aerodynamics, stealth, the capacity to carry sensitive photographic and electronic equipment without compromising performance. The aircraft were stripped of unnecessary weight, reinforced with specialized alloys, and equipped with engines capable of sustained high-altitude flight. Cameras and sensors were integrated into fuselages in ways that allowed discreet operation, often designed to appear as if the plane carried nothing more than routine surveillance gear. Pilots trained in these secret crafts learned the nuances of every instrument, understanding how even the smallest adjustment could mean the difference between a successful mission and catastrophic detection. Every detail was calculated, rehearsed, and perfected in a world where a single mistake could compromise years of intelligence work. Behind the scenes, the CIA developed protocols that mirrored military precision, but with the subtlety of espionage. Each flight was planned down to the second, routes mapped with painstaking accuracy, and contingencies accounted for in case of mechanical failure, interception, or weather disruptions. Pilots were briefed on multiple escape trajectories, enemy radar patterns, and emergency landing procedures in neutral territories. The weight of secrecy was immense. The slightest disclosure could expose not only the mission but also the technological breakthroughs that allowed it to succeed. Early tests of these modified planes often felt like experiments in the unknown. Altitude flights challenged both machine and human limits. Pilots wore specialized pressure suits to withstand oxygen deprivation, their hands gripping controls with steady precision, while cameras captured terrain hundreds of miles below. Each sortie revealed the delicate interplay between engineering ingenuity and human skill, and every successful flight provided the agency with new confidence to expand operations. Failure, however, was unforgiving. A single detection could compromise an entire network, alert foreign powers to American capabilities, and force the CIA to rebuild years of work in secrecy. One of the most critical aspects of these missions was the integration of advanced photographic technology. Cameras were designed to capture expansive areas with astonishing clarity from altitudes previously thought impossible. Films were treated to withstand extreme temperature variations, and lenses were engineered for precision optics that could discern subtle movements, troop formations, or infrastructure details from miles above. The collaboration between engineers, pilots, and intelligence analysts became the lifeblood of the operation, each group relying on the other for success. Training for the pilots was intense and secretive. Beyond mastering navigation and flight mechanics, they learned to operate covertly, reading the skies for enemy activity, understanding radar coverage, and timing their maneuvers to minimize detection. They practiced silent approaches, rapid climbs, and evasive actions until instinct became second nature. Psychological preparation was equally critical. Pilots were briefed on the stakes of every mission, carrying the knowledge that their successes could prevent global crises and their failures could ignite them. These wings of secrecy were more than aircraft, they were instruments of strategy, designed to provide the CIA with unprecedented intelligence in an era before satellites could offer similar oversight. They represented a fusion of technological innovation, human skill, and strategic foresight. The agency's investment extended beyond hardware. It cultivated a culture of daring, precision, and discretion. Knowing that these operatives and their machines would operate at the edge of detection, far from conventional oversight. Every mission flown in these modified planes reinforced the idea that control of information from above could shape global strategy. Pilots returned with images that revealed hidden military installations, mapped supply routes, and captured details of foreign technology programs. These insights were analyzed, cross-referenced, and used to inform policy decisions at the highest levels, proving that the sky could be an arena of intelligence just as critical as the ground below. The combination of aircraft and operatives became a force multiplier, creating a class of espionage that relied not on human presence alone, but on ingenuity, stealth, and the courage to operate in domains where failure could be fatal. As operations expanded, secrecy remained paramount. Knowledge of these modified planes and their capabilities was restricted to a tight circle of engineers, pilots, and intelligence officers. The success of the missions depended on the invisibility of both aircraft and crew, a concept that transcended conventional military secrecy and entered the realm of near-mythical covert operations. Each sortie was a delicate ballet of speed, altitude, timing, and precision, conducted under conditions that tested the limits of both machine and human endurance. Through these early experiments, the CIA began to understand the transformative potential of aerial reconnaissance. Wings of Secrecy was not merely about flight. It was about perspective, strategy, and the ability to gather intelligence that would otherwise be inaccessible. The operatives and aircraft became extensions of the agency's vision, moving above borders, unseen yet omnipresent, silently shaping the course of intelligence gathering. Every modification, every sortie, and every calculated risk contributed to a legacy that would eventually redefine surveillance and reconnaissance for generations to come. The success of modified aircraft and specialized training set the stage for missions that would push the CIA's reach into territories previously considered impenetrable. Every flight was an act of audacity, a calculated gamble in which pilots navigated the invisible boundaries of enemy airspace. These were not mere reconnaissance flights. They were exercises in precision, secrecy, and daring, where the line between victory and disaster could be as thin as a single radar blip. Pilots became silent witnesses to enemy activity, their cameras and sensors capturing details that could shift strategies, reveal hidden threats, and provide intelligence that no ground operative could obtain. Each mission demanded meticulous planning. Analysts studied maps, satellite imagery, and previous reconnaissance reports to plot paths that minimized detection while maximizing coverage. Pilots reviewed these plans obsessively, calculating altitudes, headings, and timing to avoid radar arrays and anti-aircraft systems. The slightest deviation could result in interception, loss of aircraft, or compromise of intelligence. Every decision required precision, every maneuver a balance of technical skill and strategic foresight. One early mission involved flying over a heavily fortified installation known for its anti-aircraft capabilities. The pilot, accompanied by a skilled navigator, ascended to altitudes that strained both machine and human endurance. Oxygen systems were calibrated to maintain consciousness, cameras preloaded to capture multiple angles of the installation, and communications kept minimal to avoid detection. The aircraft moved silently through the stratosphere, almost invisible against the expanse of night sky, a ghostly eye observing an enemy unaware of its presence. Below, the world seemed ordinary. Yet every movement, every vehicle, every light was scrutinized and recorded. The film captured details of troop formations, supply depots, and radar arrays data that would later be used to predict operational patterns and potential vulnerabilities. Analysts in Langley worked tirelessly to process the intelligence, translating shadows on film into actionable insights. The success of this mission demonstrated not only the potential of high-altitude reconnaissance, but also the critical importance of combining human skill with technological innovation. These missions were not without risk. Enemy radar and observation posts were increasingly sophisticated, capable of detecting anomalies in the skies above. Pilots learned to vary their approach patterns, altitudes, and timing, often executing split-second maneuvers to avoid detection. On some flights, aircraft sustained minor damage from unexpected turbulence or mechanical strain. Yet the operatives' training and the reliability of their modified planes ensured successful completion. Each flight expanded the CIA's understanding of enemy defenses and refined the operational tactics for future missions. Beyond capturing imagery, pilots also collected electronic intelligence. Advanced sensors recorded signals from communications networks, radar systems, and other electronic infrastructure. This dual focus of visual and electronic reconnaissance amplified the value of every sortie, allowing analysts to build comprehensive profiles of adversary capabilities. Every transmission, every lighted installation, and every shadowed movement contributed to a growing mosaic of knowledge, slowly revealing the hidden mechanisms of foreign military power. The pilots who undertook these missions became legends within the agency. Their courage was matched by the precision with which they executed every flight, often in near-total isolation, carrying the weight of secrecy and responsibility. They were trained to remain calm under pressure, to anticipate environmental and human variables, and to operate complex machinery while maintaining absolute discretion. Their work required not just skill, but psychological resilience. Knowing that the margin for error was vanishingly small, and that the stakes were nothing less than national security. As these operations grew in scope and complexity, the agency developed new protocols for analyzing intelligence. Film processing was expedited, electronic data decrypted, and results synthesized into reports that inform strategic decisions at the highest levels. The synergy between pilots, engineers, and analysts created a cycle of feedback and improvement, ensuring that each subsequent mission was more effective and more covert than the last. The intelligence gathered from these flights directly influenced diplomatic strategies, military planning, and the broader approach to global surveillance. The lessons learned during these early aerial reconnaissance missions laid the groundwork for a new era of intelligence. Pilots had demonstrated that mastery of the skies could yield unparalleled insights into enemy activity, transforming the CIA's understanding of covert operations. High-altitude observation had become a critical tool, offering a perspective previously unattainable and establishing a standard for secrecy, precision, and technological ingenuity that would define future missions. Eyes above the enemy was more than a chapter in operational history. It was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Every flight, every image, every electronic signal collected from those early missions contributed to a framework of intelligence that would evolve into satellite, surveillance, and global reconnaissance programs. The CIA had proven that, by daring to look beyond conventional limits, they could see what others could not, and in doing so, shape the strategic landscape from the skies. As the aircraft soared above enemy territory, cameras capturing every detail below, another layer of intelligence quietly unfolded, the invisible signals that traverse the air. Radio waves, radar pulses, and encrypted transmissions crisscrossed the skies, a hidden network of information that most could not detect. The CIA recognized that these signals were as valuable as the images captured on film. They represented the heartbeat of an adversary's operations, revealing patterns, communications, and secrets that could alter strategic decisions. Integrating signal intelligence with aerial reconnaissance became the next frontier of Operation Starlink. Specialized electronic equipment was installed on aircraft to intercept and analyze enemy transmissions. Engineers developed compact receivers and recording devices that could detect frequencies previously unmonitored. Pilots were trained to operate these systems in flight, multitasking between navigation, flight control, and real-time signal monitoring. Every mission became a symphony of observation and interception, blending visual reconnaissance with electronic intelligence to create a comprehensive picture of enemy activity. The skies themselves transformed into a theater of intelligence, where every flight could yield both seen and unseen knowledge. Signals intelligence required precision and adaptability. The operatives had to distinguish between routine communications and critical transmissions, separating mundane chatter from messages that contained operational plans or strategic movements. Analysts on the ground worked in tandem with pilots, providing guidance on which frequencies to monitor, decoding intercepted transmissions, and ensuring that no piece of information, however subtle, was overlooked. Each mission generated an immense volume of data, demanding meticulous processing and analysis to convert raw signals into actionable intelligence. One notable mission involved monitoring the electronic emissions of a heavily fortified facility known for its communications security. Pilots ascended to extreme altitudes, balancing the need for altitude to avoid detection with optimal positioning to capture signals effectively. The aircraft's sensors scanned a wide spectrum of frequencies, recording transmissions in real time. Below, radar arrays and communication towers pulsed with activity, unaware that every electronic whisper was being silently collected, cataloged, and analyzed. The resulting intelligence revealed not only the location of critical assets, but also the operational routines of enemy forces, providing insights that would have been impossible to gather by conventional means. The fusion of visual and signals intelligence demanded collaboration like never before. Engineers constantly refined the aircraft and equipment, enhancing sensitivity, reducing noise, and ensuring reliability under extreme conditions. Pilots became experts in identifying patterns within the data they collected, understanding how the movement of the aircraft and the positioning of sensors affected signal quality. Every mission was a lesson in the interconnectedness of technology, human skill, and strategic foresight. Success depended not only on the aircraft reaching its target, but on the operative's ability to extract meaningful intelligence from a complex and often chaotic environment. These missions also required innovative countermeasures. Enemy forces were developing methods to detect surveillance aircraft and to encrypt or obscure critical communications. CIA operatives responded by employing evasive flight patterns, signal filtering techniques, and encryption-breaking methods. Every mission pushed the boundaries of what was technologically possible, forcing engineers and analysts to innovate continuously. The combination of aerial agility, advanced electronics, and expert analysis allowed Operation Starlink to remain steps ahead, capturing intelligence that others believed was impervious to observation. The human element remained critical. Pilots and signal operators operated under extreme pressure, knowing that detection could result in loss of aircraft, compromise of missions, or international incidents. The mental fortitude required to process complex signals, maintain precise navigation, and operate high-tech equipment simultaneously was immense. Each mission tested endurance, skill, and the ability to think several steps ahead, blending human judgment with cutting-edge technology to achieve objectives that had once seemed unattainable. By combining visual reconnaissance with signals interception, the CIA had created a new paradigm of intelligence gathering. The aircraft no longer merely observed, they listened, measured, and decoded the invisible communications that defined enemy operations. These missions provided not only immediate tactical advantage, but also long-term strategic insight, shaping policies, operations, and global awareness of adversary capabilities. Operation Starlink had transformed the concept of observation, proving that the sky could carry not just eyes but also ears, silently gathering secrets that could redefine the balance of power. Signals in the sky demonstrated that intelligence was no longer confined to what could be seen from the ground. Every transmission intercepted, every radar signal decoded, every pattern analyzed added a layer of understanding, turning ephemeral waves into concrete knowledge. Through this integration of technology and human skill, the CIA forged a new path in espionage, one where the skies became a domain of unmatched insight and where every flight carried the promise of discovery, innovation, and the unseen power of observation from above. The term ghost pilots was not merely a nickname. It was a title earned through extraordinary skill, courage, and discretion. These operatives were the unseen architects of intelligence, the human element that transformed technology into actionable insight. Operating at altitudes where the sky itself became hostile, they mastered aircraft designed for secrecy, instruments built for precision, and missions that left no trace of their passage. Their work demanded perfection, for in their hands rested the delicate balance between gathering critical intelligence and maintaining absolute secrecy. Every sortie flown by these pilots required meticulous planning and flawless execution. Routes were calculated down to the second, taking into account wind currents, radar coverage, and enemy air defenses. Even minor deviations could compromise the mission, yet the ghost pilots learned to adapt mid-flight, making split-second decisions with confidence and precision. Their training emphasized not just technical skill, but mental resilience, the ability to remain calm under extreme stress, and the capacity to execute complex maneuvers while processing multiple streams of information simultaneously. The aircraft themselves were extensions of the pilot's expertise. Modified for high-altitude reconnaissance, they carried state-of-the-art cameras, electronic sensors, and navigation systems. Every switch, dial, and lever mattered, and the operatives treated their machines as partners in the pursuit of intelligence. They developed an almost intuitive understanding of how to maneuver in the thin air of the stratosphere, where a slight miscalculation could jeopardize not only the mission, but their very survival. Night flights, adverse weather, and extended durations above hostile territories were all routine. Yet these pilots executed each challenge with unparalleled precision. One particularly daring mission involved a flight over a heavily fortified region known for its anti-aircraft systems. The ghost pilot ascended silently into the night sky, the aircraft moving almost imperceptibly above radar coverage. Cameras were activated at precise intervals, capturing high-resolution images of critical installations. Sensors recorded electronic communications, translating invisible signals into tangible intelligence. Hours passed in tense silence, every maneuver calculated, every observation intentional. Until the aircraft returned undetected, its mission completed flawlessly. Such flights became a testament to human skill intertwined with technological innovation. These pilots operated in isolation, often separated from any immediate support. Unlike conventional military missions, there were no visible allies, no backup within sight. Only the aircraft, the instruments, and the knowledge that failure could have global repercussions. Their solitude was compounded by the knowledge that the intelligence they gathered could influence decisions at the highest levels of government, affect diplomatic strategies, and potentially alter the course of international conflicts. Each flight carried not just risk, but responsibility, and the ghost pilots bore it with unwavering dedication. The CIA's culture of secrecy extended beyond operational procedures. The identities of these pilots were known only to a select few. Even within the agency, their work was often compartmentalized. They existed in the shadows, their contributions invisible to the public eye and frequently unacknowledged within the broader intelligence community. This anonymity was both a protective measure and a testament to the extraordinary demands of their work. They became legends in their own right. figures whose presence was felt but whose existence was rarely recognized outside the clandestine corridors of Langley. Training for the ghost pilots was rigorous and continuous. Beyond mastering flight mechanics, navigation, and sensor operation, they studied meteorology, radar theory, electronic countermeasures, and psychological resilience. Each pilot was expected to anticipate not only the environment but also the enemy's response. Adapting strategies in real time, simulation exercises replicated extreme scenarios, testing endurance, decision-making, and technical proficiency. Only those who consistently demonstrated exceptional capability were entrusted with missions that carried the highest stakes. Their missions left no physical trace, yet their impact was profound. Intelligence gathered by these operatives informed strategic planning, revealed vulnerabilities, and provided the United States with insights that were previously unattainable. Every photograph captured, every signal intercepted, every detail noted contributed to a body of knowledge that shaped policy, defense strategies, and international awareness. They were invisible sentinels, guardians of information, and pioneers in the fusion of technology and human skill. The legend of the ghost pilots endured not because of public recognition, but because of the lives, missions, and decisions their work safeguarded. Each sortie represented a fusion of courage, intellect, and technological mastery. They embodied the principle that intelligence was not only about what could be seen or heard, but about the skill and discretion required to interpret, collect, and protect it. The skies had become their domain, a place where human ingenuity and audacity met the challenge of secrecy, and where the CIA's reach extended far beyond the visible horizon. Through their dedication and precision, the ghost pilots ensured that Operation Starlink achieved its objective, transforming the sky into a realm of unparalleled surveillance, where every flight revealed secrets hidden to ordinary observers. They operated above danger, beyond recognition, and yet their work would resonate through decades of intelligence operations, establishing a standard for excellence, courage, and the invisible art of espionage. Behind every successful mission of the ghost pilots lay a framework of technological ingenuity that was nothing short of revolutionary. The aircraft, sensors, cameras, navigation systems represented a fusion of engineering brilliance and strategic foresight. Each component was meticulously designed to overcome the constraints of high-altitude flight, surveillance requirements, and the ever-present risk of detection. These technological marvels transformed ordinary machines into instruments of intelligence, pushing the boundaries of what was considered possible in aviation and espionage. Cameras capable of capturing unparalleled detail from miles above the Earth were central to these operations. Engineers developed lenses with extraordinary precision, enabling pilots to record troop movements, military installations, and communications infrastructure with clarity that defied expectations. Film was treated to withstand extreme temperatures, pressure changes, and high-speed flight vibrations, ensuring that images reached analysts below without degradation. The integration of these cameras into aircraft required innovation, with equipment carefully concealed to maintain stealth while optimizing functionality. Equally critical were the electronic sensors that monitored signals across vast distances. These devices intercepted communications, radar emissions, and other electromagnetic signatures, transforming invisible energy into actionable intelligence. Engineers designed compact, lightweight systems that could operate in the challenging conditions of high-altitude flight. Pilots trained to operate these sensors in tandem with navigating the aircraft, performing a delicate dance of observation, interpretation, and execution that demanded split-second precision and unwavering focus. Navigation and control systems were also transformed through ingenuity. High-altitude flight presented unique challenges, from thin air and extreme temperatures to variable wind patterns that could easily compromise mission success. Instrumentation was enhanced for reliability, with redundancies built in to prevent catastrophic failure. Pilots relied on both analog and emerging electronic systems to maintain exact flight paths, adjusting for minute deviations while remaining invisible to enemy radar. The technology became an extension of their own senses, amplifying their capacity to observe and record without detection. Another area of innovation was countermeasure technology. Enemy defenses evolved rapidly, introducing new radar systems and electronic monitoring tools. In response, CIA engineers devised methods to minimize the aircraft's radar signature, reduce electronic emissions, and employ deceptive signals to mislead adversaries. These countermeasures allowed missions to penetrate previously inaccessible airspace, providing intelligence that reshaped strategic understanding. Every flight was therefore both a technological experiment and a reconnaissance mission, with lessons learned feeding directly into the next design iteration. The collaboration between engineers, analysts, and pilots created a dynamic environment where innovation thrived. Feedback from operatives in the field informed the development of new aircraft modifications, sensor calibrations, and camera technologies. This continuous cycle of refinement ensured that the CIA maintained a technological edge, leveraging every advance to enhance the precision, safety, and effectiveness of reconnaissance missions. These efforts were not merely mechanical, but intellectual, combining creativity, problem-solving, and strategic thinking to push the frontiers of intelligence gathering. Among the most remarkable innovations was the integration of multiple systems into a single operational platform. Aircraft could simultaneously capture high-resolution images, intercept signals, and navigate complex flight paths all while remaining nearly invisible to detection systems. Pilots became conduits for technology, translating mechanical and electronic outputs into intelligence that analysts could immediately act upon. The synergy of man and machine exemplified the cutting-edge nature of Operation Starlink, turning the sky into a domain where information flowed freely to those trained to capture it. The impact of these technological marvels extended far beyond individual missions. Intelligence collected using these tools informed national security decisions, strategic military planning, and diplomatic initiatives. Each successful flight validated years of research and experimentation, proving that investment and ingenuity could yield results unmatched by conventional espionage. Operation Starlink became a testament to the transformative power of technology in the hands of skilled operatives, setting a precedent for the modern era of aerial and satellite reconnaissance. Ultimately, the marvels of technology were inseparable from the human element. Aircraft, cameras, sensors, and navigational aids were powerful. But without the courage, skill, and discipline of the ghost pilots, their full potential could not be realized. Engineers and pilots worked in harmony, each understanding that innovation alone was insufficient without expertise in execution. Together, they redefined the limits of surveillance, demonstrating that intelligence gathering was as much about creativity, adaptation, and precision as it was about courage and daring. Operation Starlink's technological triumphs solidified its legacy. The combination of high-altitude aircraft, advanced imaging systems, and electronic intelligence tools allowed the CIA to operate above the enemy's reach, gathering insights that shaped strategy, informed policy, and provided an unprecedented view of the world's hidden operations. The sky had become a laboratory, a theater, and a battlefield, where human ingenuity and technological prowess converged to create intelligence capabilities far beyond imagination. As Operation Starlink matured, the cumulative achievements of the CIA's aerial reconnaissance program became evident. The missions flown by the ghost pilots, powered by technological marvels and precise execution, had established a precedent for intelligence gathering that extended far beyond conventional boundaries. Every photograph captured, every signal intercepted, and every flight conducted under extreme secrecy contributed to a growing repository of knowledge that would influence the agency for decades. The sky, once a mere domain of travel and warfare, had been transformed into a strategic vantage point, providing insights that shaped decisions at the highest levels of government. The legacy of these operations was multifaceted. Strategically, the intelligence gathered allowed policymakers and military planners to anticipate threats, assess foreign capabilities, and make informed decisions based on information previously unattainable. Technologically, the program pushed the limits of what was possible in aviation, electronic surveillance, and photographic equipment, paving the way for satellite reconnaissance and the modern era of unmanned aerial systems. Operationally, the meticulous planning, innovation, and courage demonstrated by the Ghost pilots set new standards for covert missions, creating a model of excellence that would inform future generations of operatives. One of the most enduring impacts of Operation Starlink was the culture it cultivated within the CIA. Analysts, engineers, and pilots learned to operate as a cohesive unit, understanding that intelligence was not solely a product of technology or personnel, but of collaboration, innovation, and disciplined execution. Each mission reinforced lessons about precision, adaptability, and the value of combining human skill with cutting-edge tools. This culture of integration and ingenuity became a hallmark of the agency, influencing every subsequent reconnaissance initiative. The Ghost pilots themselves became legends within the intelligence community, their contributions woven into the fabric of the CIA's operational history. While their identities often remained classified, their influence was visible in every successful mission, every image that informed strategic decisions, and every advancement in technology that allowed the agency to operate above the reach of detection. They embodied the perfect synergy between courage, expertise, and discretion, proving that the human element was as indispensable as the machines they operated. Technological innovation remained a constant driver of Operation Starlink. Aircraft continued to evolve, sensors became more sophisticated, and methods for intercepting signals advanced at an unprecedented pace. Engineers and operatives embraced challenges as opportunities, continuously refining their tools and techniques to outpace adversaries. The program's iterative approach ensured that lessons from each flight were incorporated into the next, creating a cycle of improvement that strengthened the CIA's aerial intelligence capabilities. As the era of satellites approached, the foundational principles of Operation Starlink remained relevant. The program had demonstrated that observation from above was not only possible, but essential, and that intelligence gathered from high altitudes could decisively impact strategy, diplomacy, and national security. The meticulous planning, technological ingenuity, and courage of those involved laid the groundwork for future reconnaissance methods, establishing standards that continue to influence modern intelligence operations. The legacy of Operation Starlink was thus a testament to foresight, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Every photograph, every intercepted signal, and every calculated flight contributed to a tapestry of understanding that extended beyond immediate tactical advantage. The skies had become a domain of insight, where vision, technology, and human skill converged to reveal secrets that shaped the global strategic landscape. The CIA had transformed the intangible into actionable intelligence, proving that the fusion of courage, innovation, and precision could redefine the possibilities of espionage. Disclaimer: this documentary-style story is based on declassified records, historical research, and expert analysis. While the narrative captures factual elements of CIA aerial reconnaissance programs, some details and characters may be dramatized or fictionalized for cinematic storytelling. Spy Ward's story does not take sides or pass judgment on historical events. The content is intended for informational and educational purpose. If you enjoyed this story, comment below and tell us where you are watching from. Don't forget to subscribe to Spy Ward's story for more cinematic explorations of espionage history. Stay tuned for more thrilling accounts of intelligence operations that shaped the world.